Unfollow Manchester United, what it is all about. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to get into this because I've spoken about this all week, so I don't know why people think the United stand or Mark Goldbridge haven't said anything about it. It's been mentioned in every video, but you know what? I've had people saying, you're a big account, you're hiding, you're not talking about it. Well, look, we're not hiding. Here's a whole video about it. There's nowhere to hide. It's called #UnfollowManUnited. What's it all about? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Bring it on. Let's talk about it. Because I tell you what, I'm going to start off with this. I'm going to get my point across. I'm going to take yours. I'm going to tell you what the fundamentals of this are. I'll point you in the direction of where the people who are running it are. If you want to unfollow Manchester United, that's fine. But I tell you what, in 3 or 4 weeks' time, when we sign Gareth Bale or Jadon Sancho or whoever, you'll all be following United because you'll all want to see the video. You'll all want to see the piano player. And that's my fear about the social media element of it, is that it's like, well, yeah, we can all unfollow Manchester United, but actually, what's the purpose of it? And what I would say straight away is this. I'm not going to the game on Saturday. Now, you never go to games. You're in your mum's bedroom. You sleep with your mum. Whatever. It's all a load of bollocks. I'm not a Forest fan either. I'm a Manchester United fan. I've been a Manchester United fan all my life. But I won't be at the game on Sunday because I'll be doing the watch along and things like that. But if every fan in the 90th minute, when the final whistle goes on Sunday, walks out the ground, they've watched the game. They're not going at half time. They've watched the game. They walk out the ground and they don't wait for the lap of honour. That's a statement. That's a big statement. That's an empty ground with players who've not performed this season realising they ain't got anyone to clapping them on their lap of honour because they don't deserve it. That's a statement. That's something that's... But whether that would happen or not, I don't know. Does it need to happen? Well, I think that... let me read the fundamentals of this for you here, because this is from @TFWriter, right? He's one of the people behind the #UnfollowManUnited movement, and this is basically what he's saying. The goal of #UnfollowManUnited isn't about the club losing Twitter followers, although they have lost over 10,000 in the last 24 hours. It's about finally bringing the fan base together and getting everyone on the same page to unite against the real issues at the club. I can buy into that. I've said many a time that I don't think any football club will change anything in football, whether it's the overcharging of fans to watch Subscribe TV on BT, Sky or wherever, whether it's the way that the fans are treated in general, whether it's a Manchester United specific thing. If I don't think fans will unite. We've got Must. I don't know what they do. Manchester United Supporters Trust. Don't know what they do. They certainly have never spoken to the United stand. I don't know what they do. So, I think there are many different factions, and we've seen that in the life of the United stand over the last 5 years. How people hated us, then they listened to us, then they're jealous of us, then they don't like us, when ultimately we're just a community of fans talking about the club we love. So uniting the fans is a good thing if you can do it. It also raises awareness of the way the club is being run, which if some of us have been trying to do for some time, the moment can't be lost. And if you're unsure why Unfollow Man United is a thing, here's some daunting facts. Over £450 million in loans are still to be repaid. Since taking over in 2005, the Glazers have drained over £1 billion out of our club, which has gone straight into their own pockets. In less time, City's owners have pumped over £1 billion of their money into the club. Well, that's quite an interesting contrast, isn't it? But this is things we already know. £1 billion out of the club from the Glazers, £1 billion into Man City by their owners. We've got owners who want to make money off the club. They've got owners who want to put money in to make them the best club in the world. It makes it a very hard battle. The Glazer years under Sir Alex Ferguson had a net spend of just £19 million per season for 8 years, and after finishing second last season, United were outspent in summer by Liverpool, Chelsea, Fulham, West Ham, Leicester, Everton and Wolves. 2 of those were newly promoted. So I can't argue with any of those facts. Of course I can't. They are facts. There is a worrying trend with Manchester United, but I'm going to throw something back here and say that I think the #Unfollow Man United movement. If you want to unfollow Manchester United for a couple of weeks until we sign someone and then you're following them again, up to you. That's absolutely fine. But what I would say is that Manchester United, I believe, is a 3-layered problem. I think you've got owners. Yes, they're not the ideal owners, but did people start doing #Unfollow Manchester United when we were winning titles under the Glazers, when we won the Champions League in 2008, when we've won titles under Sir Alex? Did we do that? No. People have always said the Glazers are not a good owner for Manchester United, and that's factual. You know, they bought us on debt. They're not Manchester United fans. They bought us to make money, and in many ways, they've made a lot of money, and they've made the club more valuable than it was when they took over. They're businessmen. That's what they are. It doesn't need to be personal. It doesn't need to be hateful. They're businessmen. They've made a lot of money out of this football club. But the problem with Manchester United for me at the moment is that this unfollow Manchester United thing that's happening at the moment has many, many positives, but it's also, I feel, taken away from the immediate issue at Manchester United, and that is that playing squad is a bloody disgrace. 1-1 against Huddersfield is not because of the Glazers. 1-1 against Huddersfield is not because of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. 1-1 against Huddersfield, and if we'd won, we would have had a chance for top 4 on the last day. Slim, whatever, we would have had a chance. Our season is dead because those players can't be arsed. That's the problem with Manchester United. And I look at Liverpool last night, and this worries me. I'm not moving away. I'm not going off on a tangent, and I do want to take a lot of comments on this. But you can't pin everything on the Glazers and Ed Woodward. You can't. This is a whole club problem. And I think, for me, I'm going to say this earlier on in the video, this comes down to an arrogance at Manchester United. And remember our saying, not arrogant, just better. And for many years that worked. For many years it worked. But we are too arrogant. We won everything. For 25 years we were the best team in England. We were winning Premier Leagues. We had the best manager in England. He had the fundamentals right. He had the structure right. He had the passion right. He had the desire right. And as long as Sir Alex Ferguson was in charge, it didn't matter whether the Glazers were in charge. Because Sir Alex Ferguson had that club in the firm hand. He could beat anybody. He would have kept beating everybody. He might have lost the odd title here and there, but we would have bounced back. And if he was still manager now, we'd still be winning titles. That's what would have happened. The problem is, I think the club became ingrained in that way. We can do what we want. We can buy what we want. We can develop how we want to better. No one's ever going to catch us up. We snoozed on Man City, and now we've snoozed on Liverpool as well in a shorter period of time. And we're bloody miles away. We're miles away. And the arrogance is what's cost us. We thought we could just chuck money at a problem, and it doesn't matter who we recruit. If you spend 600 million, you'll be fine. And we're not fine. We thought, if we get the best manager in the world, doesn't matter whether his philosophy's wrong, we'll be fine. We weren't fine. And arrogance is what's cost us since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. And let's just remember, Sir Alex Ferguson is the greatest sports manager ever. But he said David Moyes was a good choice. And many United fans felt it wasn't. Sir Alex Ferguson is brilliant. He's the god. He is a legend. He's the best sports manager ever. But he did make mistakes, and he made a mistake on David Moyes, and that cost us. David Moyes cost us a lot. So when you talk about the Glazers and Ed Woodward, I agree that there is an issue that needs to be resolved there. But let me just say this to you. When people say we haven't spent any money, since Sir Alex Ferguson retired, we've spent £600 million, £450 million net. Within that same period of time, Manchester City have spent around that, a little bit more, but around that. Their net spend is certainly around 600 million. And Liverpool have spent 600 million, 170 million pounds net. We can talk about net spends. Net spends are when, you take the money off that you earn. And obviously, people don't like Liverpool's net spend because they got nearly 300 million off Suarez and Coutinho. I would say you should include their net spend because they bought well to sell well. But the reality is, Liverpool, Man City and United have spent roughly around the same amount of money in the last 6 years. But the difference between those is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And that's very damning for Manchester United. To have spent £600 million in 6 years and be where we are, that to me shows a massive, massive issue. And we talk about director of football now, but we should have had a director of football the minute Sir Alex Ferguson retired, because the recruitment at Manchester United is nothing short of a bloody disgrace. It is. We haven't not spent money. We didn't spend much money last summer. I agree it was a bad summer. But we haven't not spent money. We have spent money at Manchester United. We've just spent very, very badly. And name me a player we've bought out of that £600 million that we've sold for more or has actually enhanced. Pogba might, but has Pogba really gone from the £90 million world record transfer fee to he's priceless? No, he's probably going to go for about 160 million, which with inflation really isn't that much more than we paid for him. He's more or less stagnated. So it's bad purchases, it's bad recruitment. But a second part to that as well is the wages. This disgusted me today. This absolutely disgusted me. And I must say this. I say this with a level of look, you never know exactly how much somebody's going to be paid, but these rough figures probably aren't wrong. You can find them out there. And this fundamentally, as I say, this comes down to what the problem with Manchester United is. Everyone wants to go in on the Glazers, everyone wants to go in on Woodward, but the reality is the players are responsible, the managers we've had are responsible, and God knows what the future holds if we don't sort this out. And I think it could be very, very easily solved by getting people above the manager who know what they're doing in football. This talk of Mike Phelan again, forget it. He's a very good assistant manager with zero experience as a director of football. Go and get the best people for the job, because our recruitment over the last 6 years is sackable. Somebody should be sacked. That's the problem. And I'll tell you what, I'll add a cherry on the pie here. Sadio Mane, what a player he is for Liverpool. £100,000 a week he's on. Do you know how much Alexis Sanchez is on? £350,000 a week. We are paying Alexis Sanchez 3.5 times a week more than what Sadio Mane gets. But it gets better. Harry Kane, Spurs, £150,000 a week. Lukaku, Manchester United, £250,000 a week. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Andrew Robertson, £100,000 a week at Liverpool. Luke Shaw, nearly £200,000 a week. What are we doing? Why are Manchester United paying stupid wages? We are, without question, the biggest club in England with the biggest history. Only Liverpool come close. We are a big, big club. It's there. Manchester United, biggest club in England. Regardless of where we are, we're a big, big, big club. Why the hell are we paying players hundreds of £1,000s more than our rivals are playing? It tells you in clear and present danger what a shit show it is at Manchester United. Why are we paying players ridiculous wages to play for Manchester United? These players should be begging to come to our club. There are players out there who would love to play for Manchester United. But the point is, if Liverpool are playing Sadio Mane £100,000 a week and Trent Alexander £100,000 a week and Andrew Robertson £100,000 a week, and those three players would be our world-class players, but we're paying people £200,000, £300,000 a week. What's going on with our recruitment at Manchester United? It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And to say we're run by good businessmen, it's the one thing we always say. The Glazers are great businessmen. Ed Woodward's a great businessman. That's shocking. That's sackable. That is sackable. £600 million and we're worse than where we were 6 years ago. And the wages we pay to get people to come to play for our great club, I feel like we're bloody Man City. We're Man City. We're the joke. Man City don't pay ridiculous wages. They don't pay ridiculous transfer fees. Somewhere along the line, Manchester United have become skewiffed. We've totally flipped on our arse. We're like the bloody turtle who's flipped on his back, flapping his legs in the air. We are paying ridiculous wages to mediocre players. We are paying hundreds of millions of pounds on mediocre players who don't have the character for this club. And it's shocking. So what I would say in relation to the unfollow Man United movement is if you want to unfollow Manchester United, that's absolutely fine. That's up to you. I agree with @TF Writer that, at least United fans are doing something. But I would actually scratch a little bit deeper. I think that the core fundamentals need to be put out there. The core fundamentals are we have spent £600 million in the last 6 years. What I would say about that is, though, 6 years, £600 million, £100 million a year. Is that about right? Should a club of our revenue actually be spending a little bit more? You could argue that. You could say we're in a lot of trouble. But I tell you what, I would say I wish we'd spent 300 million because the way we've wasted 600 million, if we'd spent $1 billion, we'd still be in the same situation because ultimately it comes down to the same thing. The recruitment of players at Manchester United has been disgusting over the last 6 years. And I don't know why that is. I don't know whether there's a big ego above the managers who thinks they know what they're on about in football and they strut around. I do this, I do that. We can buy whoever we want. Manchester United can do anything. Well, we can, but it doesn't mean it's successful. We need a director of football at Manchester United. So what I would say is, if you are uniting behind something, the United stand is certainly open to that because the United stand has always been very passionate. Like, we weren't shy in saying Mourinho out. We weren't shy in saying Van Gaal out. We weren't shy in saying Moyes out. We didn't exist then. But we're not shy in saying anything. And I'm not shy to say #unfollow Man United. What's it all about? Will it work? I don't think it will work. I don't think in its current state it will work as a social media unfollow Manchester United. But what will happen, and there are some super chats I need to read, but what will happen, because I want to get your comments, I can tell you for a fact that Manchester United have taken notice of this. They have. And I say that with a straight face. They're not stupid. They're not. They are a big, big business with many sponsors. But most important of all, they do care what Manchester United fans think. They do. They do care what you think. And this will not be lost on them. And they will be thinking about how they're doing it. And you know what? To spin it on a positive, this summer could be the most significant summer United have ever had. And it needs to be. They need to get so many things right. But what they need to do as a football club is open their ears. Don't close the doors. Don't be stubborn. Don't disregard what fans think. Don't disregard this fan channel, that fanzine, whatever. Listen to what they say, because it comes from a place of love. It comes from a place of passion. We love Manchester United. I hated watching Liverpool last night, but there was begrudging respect for the way they built their club. They've got the three things we don't have. They've got players on half what our players are on. It's not about the money. They are passionate, talented, desired footballers who love playing for Liverpool Football Club and will run through brick walls for it. They had Origi up front. Like, they didn't have Salah, Firmino and Robertson for the second half. They had a crap... They was basically their reserves in some ways. And they were 3-0 down against Barcelona and Messi. And they win 4-0. And I knew it was going to happen. I knew at half-time it was going to happen. They've got passion in their club. They've got the right hungry players. They're not on stupid money. They're not there because they're mercenaries. They've got a very, very good squad. Built by a manager who has a vision, a philosophy, and is passionate. And is passionate about that football club. And then they've got owners who have been patient and will put the money into that club to make it improve. Look at their summer last year. They bought squad players. They got a goalkeeper. They brought Van Dijk in the few months before. The way Liverpool have done it, I hate it, but the way they've done it is superb. We need to stop looking at Man City and their billionaire owner who will just chuck money in. We haven't got that. But you can look at Liverpool and look at what they've done. And it's that three-layered structure. Owners who have a vision, and actually, as I understand it, Liverpool do have directors of football, people in place to help Jurgen Klopp. You've got Jurgen Klopp doing a very good job, and you've got a team that is built to love that football club. And as I said, they've got a lot of players in their first team, world-class players. Andrew Robertson's a world-class left-back as far as I'm concerned. Trent Alexander's on that journey. They are on less than Ashley Young and Phil Jones. We pay stupid money to stupid players, and why are we doing that? I can't understand it. I can't understand it because the Glazers and Woodward are brilliant business people, but they pay ridiculous amounts of money for footballers. And this is the problem. We don't have somebody above the manager who knows what they're doing with agents and recruitment. If you've got somebody above Ole Gunnar Solskjaer who knows what they're doing with recruitment and agents, you would start to bring in Sadio Mane on 100 grand a week, that sort of player. You would start to bring in an Andrew Robertson on 100 grand a week. And suddenly, United are saving money, but bringing better players in for the money that we have. We have wasted 6 years. We have wasted 600 million. And we are a club that is absolutely sinking under the deadwood of the squad that we've built. And it goes from the top to the bottom. The players are culpable as well. Chloe Jenkins says, do these people not realise it won't achieve anything? Look how huge the Glazers' out stance was back a few years ago. What did that achieve? Sod all. Well, that's an interesting comment from Chloe. We've also had a comment from Gordon Murray. Read today that Ollie and Mike have decided that they aren't going to go for big name players, but players that have a good team mentality. Well, that's for the future. That's for the future, Gordon. But I think there's a massive opportunity for Manchester United this summer. I think that the timing of the hashtag unfollow Manchester United moment in some ways is the wrong time. We are becoming, but you know, it's the right time, but it's the wrong time. You're coming towards the end of the season. You're going to see transfers. You're going to see positivity, and you're going to get interested in Manchester United. The minute we sign somebody in the summer, everybody's anger will dissipate, because that's what happens in the summer window. You become positive, you look forward. And what might happen is, come November, December, we might be back where we are now. That's why United have got to grab this opportunity this summer. That's why people are worried, because if we repeat what we've done over the last few years, it doesn't matter how much we spend, we'll make a mistake. We've got to get it right. We've got to get it right. And I think fan pressure in the right way will help that if the club is open to it. What worries me is that the unfollow Man United thing in its very simplest sense worries me, because I don't want to unfollow Manchester United. I follow Manchester United. I will not unfollow Manchester United Twitter, YouTube. Personally, I won't do it. That's my right. That's my opinion. I totally and utterly am happy to dedicate a show to it, because that's what the United Stand is. That's what a fan channel is. It's a democracy. It's a community, and we discuss it. But I don't want to unfollow Manchester United, because I love Manchester United. I followed Manchester United for many, many years. I've followed them since I was a kid. I'm not going to unfollow them now. And there is always that stubbornness in me that, you know, we've had the good times. You can't walk away in the bad times. You can be angry, you can be frustrated, you can look at why we're having the bad times, and I agree with all that. But I'm not going to unfollow Manchester United. I'm not going to do it, because I love Manchester United. But there may be ways that things can be developed if the club take it on board. They've got to open up their ears. I mean, why does Manchester United have to be a closed shop? Why do Manchester United not address the fans and say, look, the last 6 years hasn't been good enough, we accept, we've made mistakes, and we're working very hard to make sure it doesn't happen again? Why don't they come out and say, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the manager, but when it comes to transfers, Ed Woodward's in charge. He makes the final decision from the reports he gets from all around the country and the world, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's suggestions, but it's Ed Woodward who makes the decisions. Why is this shrouded in secrecy? Why can't Manchester United fans actually have a little bit more clarity on what's going on at the club? Many people would say that we're not going to get that, but why not? We've had a comment from Ed Woodward. It's not the real one, but he says, "Don't you wish your CAO was hot like me? Don't you? I'm doing deals at the wheel. Nothing can stop me now." Dazzo W says, "If we offer someone a decent wage, example Rashford, and they turn it down, holding out for stupid wages, get them out. That goes for every player." Dazzo, I think this is one of the most interesting things that I've been aware about, but I just didn't really ever mention it before. £150,000 Harry Kane is paid by Spurs, and he will run through brick walls for Spurs. He loves Spurs. Lukaku is half the player on £250,000 a week. We signed him from Everton. Why? Why did we pay him to? At what point did people think Romelu Lukaku? Let's give him £250,000 a week. Sod £250,000 a week. If Chelsea were offering him 200, let Chelsea have him. This is it. I think there's this arrogance. It goes back to what I said. There's an arrogance at Manchester United. We're bigger and better than everyone else. We can flex our muscles, but they're flexing it on the wrong people. I agree. If Marcus, welcome to Man United 89, the latest member of the club. I agree. If Marcus Rashford wants £200,000 a week, no, off you go. 150, and you know what, Marcus? We do like you. We do want you at this football club. But it's £150,000 a week. You're not having any more. You've had a bad season. There is talent there, but you need to do more. You're not having £200,000 a week. Harry Kane's on £150,000 a week. He's a proven world-class striker at Spurs. Winning in the Champions League semi-finals, in the Champions League top 4 every year because of what he does for Spurs. You're not having any more than 150 grand a week. Well, I'm off to Barcelona then. Off you go. See you later. Mason Greenwood, let's have your chance. This is what Manchester United need. This is what Manchester United need. Luke Shaw. I like Luke Shaw. He's not worth 180 grand a week. Never in a million years. If Andy Robertson at Liverpool's on 100 grand a week, that's what Luke Shaw should have been on. And if he wants a lot more, let him go. But you know why we do it? Because we let contracts run down. It's another fundamental part of where Manchester United are making major errors in the business part of the football club. We let contracts run down. Ander Herrera is about to go off to PSG. Apparently it's confirmed today from Spanish reports. Whatever you think about Ander Herrera, when he walks out the door, we see a player who gets what our club's about. He's a leader. What Woodward and the Glazers should see is £20 million walking out the door for nothing. Because that's what Ander Herrera is worth if you'd got him on a new contract. But we didn't. We didn't do it. We let contracts run down. And that's what happened with Luke Shaw, and that's what's happened with Anthony Martial. We let the contracts run down, and then to keep them, we negotiate, and we end up paying stupid wages, when what we should be doing is... you know what? I don't know the situation with Luke Shaw. I don't know the situation with Martial. I don't know the situation with Rashford. But I do know this situation. If those players' agents are saying, we're not signing, we're going to run our contract down, we're not signing unless you give us 200 grand a week, you know what I would say? Get out. Piss off. Go. We're Manchester United. I don't want players only signing contracts because we're giving them stupid money. Get this club back. I don't care if we finish mid-table for the next 3 years with a team that is young, vibrant and inexperienced, but they want to be at this club. They're not on 400 grand a week and they want to work and build something. We've got to remove the crap in that squad. I personally think that maybe now is the time to say bye to Pogba and De Gea. I know that's really controversial, but I really do think that we're probably at that point now because... we need to build the club, and we're not going to buy world-class players to play with Paul Pogba, so we'll never get the best out of him. And De Gea is probably not going to win a Premier League title or a Champions League, and he's going to get older and older. Cash in on those players and build something. Let's start to build something. Let's look at the way Liverpool have done it, I hate to say it, and let's start getting a squad of players that aren't here because we're paying them north of 200 grand a week. Crap players on north of £200,000 a week. It's disgusting. And I don't understand why that's happened. And I think, in the most simple way, this is why we're failing. We're Manchester United. Manchester United fans get it. We remember at the start of February, the Munich tragedy. We'll remember in a couple of weeks, 20 years ago, and the unprecedented treble. We remember the good times. We remember what this club's all about. We remember the passion. The badge means something. We've got a fan base that gets it. We don't have a playing staff that get it. They don't get it. They don't get it. They're overpaid, greedy mercenaries who don't get it. If you said to those players, every single one of you, 100 grand a week now, they down tools more than they have this season. They're overpaid, up their own arse, and that squad needs obliterating and rebuilding again. I want to see hungry players who understand what Manchester United's all about and run through brick walls like those Liverpool players did last night for 100 grand a week. 100 grand a week! And Trent Alexander is doing little quick free kicks, pumping up the crowd, going for it. I'm envious. That's what I want to see in a United shirt. I don't want to see 250 grand Lukaku bouncing his first touch into Sainsbury's car park. And I'm not picking on Lukaku. I'm picking on the idiots that bought him and gave him 250 grand a week. Lukaku is 90 million transfer fee and $1 million a month in wages. What a waste of money. What a waste of money. Sanchez, 400 grand a week in wages. What a waste of money. So you cannot say that we haven't spent money. And to be honest with you, if I was the Glazers, I'd be sacking people. I would be sacking people and saying, look at the way Liverpool do it. Because if the Glazers are going to sell us, it might be the way out. If the Glazers aren't going to sell us, I want them to run our club. Because if they're bothered about money, they should be as furious as we are about the waste we have spent in the last few years, the wages we have given. Something needs to happen at Manchester United. Some heads need to roll. Somebody needs to be sacked. A director of football needs to come in. And if we spent that £600 million again with the right people in place, we'd be in a far better position. The money has been put in. You spend that £600 million, that's what Liverpool have spent in the last 6 years. Man City aren't far off it. We've spent the right amount of money. The wrong people have spent it. That's the problem. The recruitment is crap. The wages is crap. And we're broken. And that's the situation. Will a hashtag help it? I think it will make the club listen. And I'm interested to see where it goes from here. And I'm happy to debate it. But for me, I won't unfollow United because I love Manchester United. And but I certainly agree that there's problems. And you know what? In me, I think the club's going to react to this. And maybe this little thing will be part of it. And maybe the season we've had, and let's not forget, it's the shittest season we've ever had. Like, we could be the only top 6 club in the Emmerdale Cup next year. Liverpool could win the Champions League. Man City could win the league. It's disgusting. It's a disgusting league. It's a disgusting season. And I think there's enough things in the pot for Manchester United this summer that if the owners, Woodward, and everybody else doesn't react to it, then it's only going to get worse. The club's a mess. The stadium is breaking down. We're at tipping point. We are at tipping point, and I totally get why the fans are doing what they're doing. And then I'm not saying they're wrong, but I just feel this summer something's going to happen. Something major is going to happen. They need the right people, though. That's the problem, because the Glazers could say we're going to spend £300 million in one summer, but if it's spent by the same people over the last 6 years, it'll be a waste. We'll bring Dybala in, who I can tell you right now, Dybala hasn't got the mentality or the consistency for what we need right now. Neither is Gareth Bale. These are not the players to go and spend the money on. But we could spend 200 million on Bale and Dybala, and we've wasted it. We need the people in charge to spend the money correctly. Do you think selling Pogba could be Manchester United's Coutinho? Says Elliot Lawless. And welcome to Sander Erga. I mean, there is another player. I've got to say, there is another player I would absolutely cry if we bought them to Manchester United. Philippe Coutinho. What a load of crap he is. We've got to be very, very careful. And I think the overhanging thing for me, I hope people take this away, is the fact that we have spent a lot of money in the last 6 years. The wages we pay is disgusting. The squad that we've got is a disgrace. If we're going to spend money this summer, which I think we will, it's so important that they get somebody into that football club who knows what they're on about. Because my fear is the Glazers will react. Ed Woodward will react. But if they react in the same way they have over the last 6 years, we're already going to fail. You may as well burn the 200 million you're going to spend, because it's got to be spent on the right people. It's got to be spent on the right players. And going back to that comment that we had about, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer potentially wanting us to buy non-marquee younger players, that's right. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer might ultimately be a failure at Manchester United because he's young and he's naive as a manager, but he ain't stupid. Like, that squad doesn't have winners in it. And we do need to buy hungry players. We were talking about that James fella from Swansea. Well, maybe he's not going to be good enough, but he ain't going to be paid 200 grand a week to come here. He'll probably be on 100 grand a week, and he'll be hungry to prove himself, and that's what United need to do. Man United 89 says unfollow the players' accounts, not Manchester United. I mean, that would be impactful on the players, but they've got, Vivek Chayan says 200,000 is what Harry Kane is paid. Jones 150 grand. I don't think. Well, Harry Kane's worth 200,000 pounds a week, but I think it's actually 150,000 pounds a week because Spurs are quite tight with money. But it's still a lot less than what Lukaku's on. Greg Hempsel, check out what Brandon Vetter did at Saracens as director of football in 2009-10. Got rid of 18 players in 48 hours and rebuilt since they've won 2 titles. Luke Skywalker, Mino Raiola, greedy agent with greedy clients. Jay Erratic read that Manchester United are linked to Seb Nissam. Elliot Lawless, we've read that. Daz OW, if we offer someone a decent wage, we've done that one. Ed Woodward, we've done that one. Man United 89, thanks for the contribution. I'd argue United have more mercenaries than City, says Mashiat 99. Well, we do. This is what I don't understand with United. We've become mercenary United. We've done what you think Man City would have done. Overpaid players' wages and transfer fees, desperately begging them to come to our club. Yet we're the club with the recent history. We're the club. We're Manchester United. You'd expect Man City to have done what we've done and us to do what they've done. We're not going above 60 million. We're not paying stupid wages. Man City withdrew from Sanchez and Fred because they didn't want to pay stupid wages. And they're the mercenary plastic club with oil money coming out their arse. But they withdraw because they're not having it. But we, with all the history and the big club in the world, no, we'll pay it. We don't care. We'll destroy our wage structure. It's really weird. Gordon Murray, read that one. And, yeah. Look, I'm happy to do these discussions because I think it really gets the blood throwing. It really gets me thinking about it, and I enjoy doing it. But certainly not scared of doing it. I think look, I can only be honest and say for me, hashtag unfollow Man United. It's not something I'm going to do at this point, but I'm more than happy to discuss it. As I said at the start of the show, I personally think that if all the fans who were at the game on Sunday and the 90th minute they walk out and then the players are left to walk around and have their lap of honour to no fans, that's impactful. That will get a lot of media coverage. That to me in many ways is the perfect lesson because it's something that the Glazers and Ed Woodward and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will take note of. It will show them people that the fans are fed up of what they're watching. They are fed up of those players that have been provided to our eyes by the club through bad recruitment. And I think that would be impactful. Whether people do it or not, it's a personal choice. You can't demand people do it. People have got their own things. Some people might want to... A few thousand people might want to stand there and clap Jesse Lingard and Pogba and Ashley Young and Phil Jones. And if they want to do that, they do. I mean, you've got the Player of the Year awards tomorrow night. I mean, what's that all about, really? But as I've said many a times, to me, it's not just about the ownership because that ownership has been in charge when we've been successful. And a lot of that was down to Sir Alex Ferguson. But this playing squad is the worst I've ever felt about a playing squad in my lifetime. And I'm listening to older fans than me, it's the worst they've had as well. We're a mess, and I've always said this. I think Manchester United Football Club, if they'd got a decent director of football in 2013, we'd be winning titles now. I think it's that simple. I think if you put somebody above the manager at Manchester United who knows what they're on about, who is world class at what they do, and I don't care whether they've got 200 caps for United or not, or appearances, I don't care whether they've ever kicked a ball in their life. As long as they're a very good director of football, that's what United need. Unfortunately, above Mourinho, you had Ed Woodward. Above Louis van Gaal, you had Ed Woodward. And above Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we've got Ed Woodward. There isn't a football man. There is not a football man there, and every top club has them. I think Man City have got 3. And we've got none. And we have spent the money. We've spent the right money. 600 million over 6 years. Yeah, we could have spent a bit more, but when you compare it to others, fine. That's a lot of money. We've just wasted it. And the club should look at that. They shouldn't be thinking, oh, look at the fans. They don't know what they're on about. We're in charge. You should be listening because there's a lot of sense in what the fans are saying. And I'll guarantee you now, if you'd appointed a director of football in 2013, you wouldn't be in this shithole that you're in now. Because you are in one. This club has never been in as bad a situation as it now. Why have we not appointed a director of football? Is there an ego at Manchester United that wants total control even though they've got no clue about football? They're just a businessman. Or have the managers resisted it? Apparently Mourinho didn't actually want one. So, but that for me is fundamentally where we've gone wrong. Matthew McFadden, Manchester United players play for paychecks as individuals. City players play as a team for the paychecks. That's the difference. And you could say the same about Spurs and Liverpool. They've got a squad of players that aren't on ridiculous money, that are united in doing everything they can to win football games for their football club together. We've got, I said it when we signed Sanchez, you've got somebody there who's on more than double anybody else. How can they be united? They're a bunch of individuals. They're not a team. You know what? The solution to this is to walk in there and kick 14 of them out the door and bring 14 new players in. But we won't do it. We won't do it because the money we would throw down the drain to do it just wouldn't happen, which is why we're in such a mess. Mane's on £170,000 a week. He signed a new contract from a die-hard Liverpool fan, says Norris Pintel. Yes, well maybe he is now because he's earned that contract. I don't have he wasn't. When they first signed him, he was on 100 grand a week. And he's earned 170 grand a week. And 170 grand a week is still not what Luke Shaw's on. Luke Shaw's on more than that. Lukaku's on 80 grand a week more. So that's what you should do. You should bring players in on a wage that makes them hungry to go to the next wage. But he's, I think Van Dijk's on 170 grand a week as well. 170 grand a week for their best player. I think Salah's only on 250. That's the same as Lukaku. I think Kevin De Bruyne at Man City's on about 250 grand a week. The same as Lukaku. It's messed up. It's one of the biggest talking points that doesn't get spoken about enough. The wages we pay for players. We're meant to have owners. Well, we have got owners who've taken £1 billion out of the club since they've took over. And yet, if they're so greedy to take money out of the club, why have you got people running the club who are costing you millions of pounds a month? Like, if you had somebody in charge who knew what they were doing on the football side, you'd make more money. This is the problem. We've got owners who want to take money out of the club, but they've got people running the club who are absolutely chucking money on the fire. They're wasting money. Lukaku should be on maximum 150 grand a week, and you'd save yourself 100 grand a week. Sanchez shouldn't even be at the club. You save yourself 400 grand a week. Luke Shaw should be on 130 grand a week. You'd save yourself 60 grand a week. Phil Jones shouldn't be at the club, 100 grand a week. Ashley Young shouldn't be at the club, 100 grand a week. We overpay on these players, and we call ourselves a business club and not a football club. Everything is wrong with it. Everything is wrong with it. And I hope Manchester United Football Club, instead of getting resentful and instead of getting stubborn and instead of getting angry with the fans, they actually listen to the fans, because they are the people that love this football club, who are passionate about this club, and they start to listen to what the fans are saying. Because what's clear to me over the last 6 years is that whoever's in charge, whoever's making the decisions, are making bad decisions, and they should be sacked. They should be listening to the people like you about what you're saying and thinking, these are good. This is why people brainstorm in high-end business. They should be looking around at what you're saying with a pen and paper and going, that's a good idea, that's a good idea, that's a good idea. Because there's good ideas there. But what they're doing is, no, I'm not listening. I'm going to carry on doing what I do. La, 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 la. Oh, I've got another 600 million from Glazers. I'm in charge. I'm going to go and sign Dybala, Bale, because they're Galacticos. La, 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 la. I don't want to buy young up-and-coming players because they're not going to sell shirts. La, 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 la. Open your ears. For God's sake, open your ears. You've been making the same mistake for 6 years. You can still solve it. You can still sort this out. Or sell the club. You can still solve it. This summer is massive. It's massive. If we get it wrong this summer, I don't know where else we can go, because this is the worst we've ever been. They can solve it. They need to listen. And that's the one thing I would say about #UnfollowManUnited. They need to listen to it, because there's a lot of good ideas. There's a lot of good intention behind it. Is unfollowing United Twitter and YouTube going to cause a problem? No. Because the minute we announce a signing, it's going to go up by 1 million. But it doesn't mean that this glimpse, this moment now where there is frustration, they should open their ears and listen to it, because there's some really good ideas in there. Thanks everyone for watching. I know it's a passionate moment. Please do smash a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. Get your comments in below, because that to me is what I want to read tonight when I'm lying in bed at 11 o'clock and I'm going through the comments. I want to read them. I want to see what you've all got to say. Oil Rand says, I've been a United fan since 1978. This is the most broken I've seen the club. Not one player I have any passion about. Fire them all. That comment there is what should be on the wall of the Glazers, Ed Woodward, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. That's a fan since 1978. They've never felt like this about a Manchester United club. They've never disliked a bunch of Manchester United players as much as that. That is what they need to be opening their ears to. And all the other stuff. It's important. Don't treat us like shit. Listen and build this club back to where it needs to be, because it can be done. Thanks for watching. Speak to you all tomorrow.